Hey boys, girls, the YouTube world. Today, Duff Dog and I are going to go pick up a 1971 Plymouth Satellite. So this one's a little bit different. It runs and supposedly drives. It was a barn find. And these guys had fixed it up years ago, and then it kind of became a barn find again. And the reason they parked it is because the transmission leaks and could use a tune-up and a few other things. Usually, this isn't my car, but usually we don't do customer work, but these people have a few other cars in their stable they're looking to maybe part ways with. And so, doing the old barter system. We're going to trade a little labor for some old junk. So, let's go get this thing loaded up, get her home, see what we're working with, and get her fixed, and get her junk. All right, I got to drive. And our tow pig of choice today is the 1998 Chevrolet Rollback. If it'll start. Here we go. All right. Made her home, or we gotta load it I guess first. Made her home, pretty uneventful. Probably would have drove on the trailer. He said he drove it in that building, but tranny leaks and doesn't run that great, he said, so figured do we have the rollback, I might as well utilize it. Winch her on, bobbing around. I guess his 6.2 blew up with like 53,000 miles on it, like a 2021 or 2022 GM junk, so he's driving his Duramax. But yeah, I gotta move some stuff in the shop and then we'll get this in there. I think we're gonna put it on the lift right away to try to figure out where that leak is in the transmission. Look at this. Where did you rolled in grass? You're such a gross dog. You're so gross. All right, let's see if this thing will light off. He said it did. You know, open the hood. Okay, you don't know much about Mopars? We'll figure it out. Like a pro. Well, he left us this battery. He said it's like 11 years old. I can hear something juicing. Oh yeah, that was the thing. He said it doesn't crank inside of the car. Let's confirm. The oil light is on. Sure enough, Duff. No cranky crank. Want to fetch up a loser switch? That'd be great. Well, Mopar's got this little relay thinger here. That's going straight to the battery. And one of these, I think, will crank it over. Maybe. Not that one. And not that one. So, what do we gotta do here? There we go, that one. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of amperage going through. I don't entirely understand how this circuit works. This is going to the starter. And this is some pretty heavy gauge wire. And this is what we're jumping it to, is this wire. So, who knows? We are in park. We got full of oil on the old dipstick Jimmy. Looks like an Edelbrock 1406. See if she'll go. Might have to get the old hot sauce out. Ran one park, he said, hey, let's turn the key on. Key was already on. Let's check for spark. We got spark. I guess we'll be checking for the fuel. He said he had to run it a few days ago, so it shouldn't take much. Definitely getting fuel. One jet is squirting. This side is not. We got fuel. We got spark. Sounds like we got compression. Why don't we have an engine that runs? All right, got the good blue avgas. We'll give her a pinch of that, see if that helps. He said he put about 5 gallons of fresh gas in it last year. Well, I got a feeling that gas from last year is no good. Because it's spraying. Woo! Something's out of tune, out of time. Well, it's spraying gas, so there should be gas in the bowls. I think it's just bad gas. Why is it kicking back like that? He was correct in the fact that it definitely needs a tune-up. Should not have to have the idle turned up that high. I'm guessing there's some blocked passageways in there. I think he said this thing's got a 440 in it, so I would imagine it's got a 727 in it. I think it's out of a 75 Newport, something like that. Big car. Anyway, let's see if we can't get this thing onto the wildfire lift without driving through the wall. Hopefully we got brakes. Check fluid. Oh yeah. Looks like we maybe got a exhaust leak on that side somewhere. Choo choo. I think he's got some fresh paint on her. That thing doesn't. Oh yeah, she's getting a puddle underneath it already. Should be pretty easy to identify where the transmission leak is. Shut it off with the key. Let's run it up in the air and see if we can identify where the leak's coming from. Well, judging by the trail this thing left coming in the shop, shouldn't be too hard to find. Get ourselves a nice bloody puddle right there. And just like I thought, the front seal is probably what's leaking. We'll pull that inspection cover, but your torque converter's right there, and I believe that drives your pump directly, and usually that's where all your pressure's at. So of course, once you get pressure, it leaks. And that's what he said. He said, it only leaks when it's running. Well, yeah, that's the only time it's pumping. So I'll pop those two, what are they, 1/4-inch bolts out of there and see, but pretty sure that's what it is. So you gotta pull the whole transmission out to do that, and that's why I wanted to put it on the lift. So yeah, I'll pop that off there, but pretty sure that's gonna be our culprit. Fortunately, you can't really see much in there, but you can tell it's coming from the input shaft of the transmission. So, get a seal coming and pull this thing out. Hopefully it's pretty straightforward. I think we can sneak it by the exhaust here. We got a couple tranny cooler lines, shift linkage, speedo cable. Looks like there was some wiring for, I don't know if it's kick down or a reverse light. Being a big block 440 or what he says it is, this should be a 727. I think that's the only automatic you could get behind these. I am not an expert. Hopefully we can sneak this transmission mount out past the exhaust. Ooh, this exhaust is It's something else. Different sizes and some terrible booger welding. And it looks like they, I don't know, cobbled something on there. Anyway, we're not here to fix that. We're here to fix a leak on a transmission and maybe give her a tune-up. I'm gonna pull the drive shaft. I don't know what rear end this is. I'm guessing it's the smaller one. What is the good one? The 8 3/4. It's got a rear cover, so this is the smaller one, 7 1/2, 7 3/4, something like that. So we'll be pulling the drive shaft out. Dang, no air shocks even? What kind of 70s hot rod is this? It's actually surprisingly, oh, I say that, there's some rust in the inner fender there. But as far as the structure, because these are a unibody car, all that stuff looks really solid. That inner fender looks good over there. Rockers look nice and dry. Floors don't look like they ever been patched. I don't see a bunch of screws or liquid nails or fiberglass or anything. Those look like some fresh screw holes for some seats or bolts for seats. He did say that the seats don't fit for crap, so that doesn't surprise me. Somebody probably put the wrong buckets. This might have been a bench seat car, or who knows. But yeah, frame rails all look good. Power steering worked really, really, really well. But it looks like that's got a bit of a leak as well. So we'll let him know on that. Frame rails all look nice and straight. Not all patched up or rusty. Ooh, got a nice Napa Flexi hose on the lower radiator hose and a Fram oil filter. You still see the overspray from the overhaul on the fuel pump. Drum brake car. These are, like I said, unibody torsion bar car, typical Mopar stuff. I don't know what that is. Vacuum hose of some sort. All right, let's get to crack-a-lackin'.
Crack-a-lackin'!
Gotta take out some torque converter bolts. And then, like I said, bell housing bolts. All of the bolts. It's gonna be nice on this wildfire lift, though. I haven't done a tranny in this thing yet. Should be good. Just like doing her on a 2-post. All right, here comes the decision-making part. I don't know if I can get this transmission crossmember past this exhaust. I'd sure hate to cut that nice exhaust too. Do a little bit more playing around, see what we can figure out. I think if we drop the exhaust pipe down, it should be okay. On this side leaks over here, so maybe we'll fix the leak in the process. Not likely. What's going on there? Now, come on, baby, so close. There we go. Okay, hopefully we can just let her down now. Wishful thinking, right? Loose up there. Whoa. All right, let's pull this torque converter off. The thing about Chryslers is they got the ring gear on the torque converter. It should just slide out just like every other torque converter, right? Still got some blue paint on it. To me, that means it ain't been overheated. He had said this transmission was recently gone through. Well, recently, like not many miles ago. They put this car together, I think it was last tagged in 03, so 21 years ago. He said it probably only had a couple years of runtime on it. Let's see if our 18508 Napa seal is going to be the same. It does fit our torque converter. There's a fair amount of wear, grooving and such on here. I don't really like that. That might be causing our leak. That seal. I'm gonna come out of there. Hammer and a chisel, huh? That seal was definitely not coming out. There we go. There we go. And that might be part of the issue we got. That's a chunk of bushing there. That's fun. Oh yeah, that bearing is all chewed up. It's actually ready to fall out, it feels like. There's another big old chunk of bearing. I can wiggle that bushing around with just a seal pick here, so it's really in there pretty loose. It won't come out though. Yeah, I can even get it to spin. Yeah, I think this one is beyond us. We're definitely not automatic transmission experts around here, nor are we interested in becoming automatic transmission experts around here. All right, after conferring with my transmission guy and some other Mopar experts, nobody's ever seen this before, so we're just gonna send this whole transmission off and have a expert look at it. This one's going to, I think it's called Kramer's Repair in Lickerwood, North Dakota. Obviously we're gonna need a torque converter and a bushing, and then hopefully find the root cause of why that went out. So hopefully he brings it back, it's all nice and shiny and ready for us to install. Alrighty, while we're waiting for the transmission to come back from said transmission expert, we got a couple other things to address. First thing's that carburetor. We know it's not spurting fuel out. I'm guessing the accelerator pump's dried up. I got a kit. Let's pull this thing apart, see what we can find, clean her up, throw her back together. These Edelbrocks, super simple. I like them. They just freaking work right out of the box. Adjust the idle and go. They don't make a ton of power, but they don't leak. And they don't backfire and spit and sputter and pop and bang. Best carburetor out of the box. Edelbrocks. 1405, 1406, depending on if you want a mechanical choke or an electric choke. 1405's cable choke, 1406 electronic. All right, let's see what I need for tools here. Looks like it's got an adapter on here for the throttle linkage. We got our PCV. We're gonna need a 1/2 inch to get the bolts out. Pliers to get our throttle linkage unhooked. Oh, never mind. Let's cut that little clip there. I'll put that back together so we don't lose it. So yeah, pretty easy to take out. Well, this is a 1405 mechanical choke, manual choke, cable choke if you prefer. They're all the same thing, right? Looks like we got a vacuum advanced unhook as well. I'm curious, this thing is a later model engine, so I assume it's got, oh yeah, no points. It's got the electronic ignition by Mopar. Yeah, that cap's a little corroded in there. We could probably use one of those. Rotor, made in USA, so that's how you know it's old. But yeah, I think we're gonna get a set of plugs and wires. Cap rotor, we're gonna put all that stuff in there, may as well. These wires are all mismatched anyway. Cheap insurance. Another beauty of the old Edelbrock is it's dual bolt pattern, so it'll bolt onto a square bore or a spread bore. This intake is actually a spread bore, so you put a quadrajet on there. This thing probably had originally, what the heck did Mopar call their version of the thermo bog, the old thermo quad. We usually don't get anything too nice in here, but this is an excellent excuse to use our Mortske repair fender cover. Get yours, mortske.com. All right, here we go. The Edelbrock 1405, so easy, a caveman could do it.
It's so easy, a caveman could do it. Oh no, not cool.
I feel like all you need is a pliers and a flat screwdriver, and you can pretty much go through this entire carpet. Oh man, this thing smells like bad gas. We definitely should be looking at draining the gas. Let me find a magnetic tray so I don't lose that hardware. I'm sure there's a million videos on taking these things apart out there. So we're gonna take this apart real fast and we'll show you what we find on the inside. Ew, stinky. So, I think it was this squirter that wasn't working. You can see there's a bunch of debris in there, so we'll clean this thing up, take her apart a little bit further, and she'll be ready to go back together. Looks like there's a filter on the old needle and seat. Look at all that crap that's in there. I'm sure the fuel tank is full of just as much stuff. We should check, see if there's a fuel filter on it. Let's see how much crap is in that thing. No, I think all that's left is the old accelerator pump. And this thing's pretty much ready to go in the old ultrasonic cleaner. I really do like that thing. It makes a lot of noise, so it's a good time to leave the shop, but does a pretty good job with minimal effort. And that's what we like. Good jobs and minimal efforts. Oh, he did mention that one time this thing had a carb fire and it melted underneath the hood. And this accelerator pump rod is plastic, and she's a little mushroomed up. Got a little toasty.
Toasty.
Ooh, I don't know that we're gonna be able to get that out of there the way it's melted. This rod won't come out. So we're gonna have to get a new accelerator pump push rod. Likely. Or can we take it apart down here? This is all the accelerator pump really is this diaphragm. Or boot or seal, whatever. And it looks like there's two pieces of plastic here stuck together somehow. They just press together somehow? How do you work? Guess we just pull real hard. Oh, never mind. It won't come out that way anyway. It's got that umbrella there. Looks like we're back to you know, I think we can actually, I don't think the ultrasonic cleaner is going to hurt that. It looks like heck, but functionality should be fine. We're just going to take this gasket off and throw her in there as is. All right, ready to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. I like to get the gasket off first so it doesn't contaminate the ultrasonic cleaner, and also so that the ultrasonic cleaner will loosen up what I didn't get. But yeah, there's a lot of crap in this thing. And you don't want crap in your carburetor, do you, Duff? He says absolutely not. So we'll throw this thing in the ultrasonic cleaner and we'll check back in a bit. I'm gonna go check, make sure I got a rebuild kit for this thing. If not, I'm gonna have to get one ordered. All right, here's our fuel filter. Where's the in and the outside? You always want to tap on it backwards. Can't even freaking read it anymore. Anyway, I feel like that, oh yeah. That was the inlet side. Definitely got a rust issue in the fuel tank. This quick carb kit transmission seal job has snowballed. And this is why I don't like customer work. And this is why I don't give quotes either. Everybody's like, oh, can you quote me on it? No, because you don't know what you're gonna find. Like, why is your transmission seal leaking? Because the freaking pump bearing bushing is wiped out. It's not just a seal. Or your carburetor sucks because your fuel system is full of rust. So, great. We could pull the tank and maybe clean it out. If we just put a filter on it, we're just delaying the inevitable. I feel like a new fuel tank would be an excellent option. All right, one more thing that was on the list. I noticed the fan. It's a flexi fan. I don't really care for them either, much like flexi hoses. And this one's missing a big old chunk out of the blade, and they're prone to continual cracking. And that's the last thing you want to do is send a fan blade through your freshly repainted hood that has been burnt up from a fire one other time, or through somebody's skull or battery, inner fender, whatever. So we're going to take that thing off and see if we can find a clutch fan or other type of solid fan to put on there. Pretty straightforward, or so one would think. Well, that one's handy. There's no fan shroud to get in the way, and there's enough room between the radiators so we could actually put the Milwaukee M12 ratchet in there, so that'll make quick work of it. So yeah, there's that blade that's winged up, and then there's a couple other ones that, I don't know if they, yeah, something must have hit there at one time, and it damaged them all, and just happened to crack that one, so sooner or later these are going to crack out. You can tell this is an aftermarket fan by that slotted hole there. Well, maybe Mopar used these, but anyway. So I'm going to take this as a template and see what I can find in my stash. All right, dug through my stash, found this almost brand new flexi fan. It's about a 1/2 inch smaller diameter. Should be plenty good. Like I said, this thing looks like brand new. Turns the right direction. Let's throw her on there. If that one was working fine, this one should do the same. I'm guessing this thing's a stock 440. This car doesn't have a bunch of horsepower. It's not air conditioned. It's not super heavy. It's not towing, so cooling should not be an issue with a properly tuned stock engine. If you were wondering what kind of fans I like, I actually prefer a clutch fan, or basically whatever the stock fan was for your application. If you got a square body, I like a clutch fan. If you got a early Ford, I like the stock solid ones, or 283 Chevy, whatever. Because the factory did a lot more engineering than whoever made these flex fans, so that's what I like. Get them nice and tight to the radiator, get a good fan shroud, good radiator, properly tuned engine. Cooling should not be a problem. All right, fan replacement done. One more thing off the list. I suppose let's lift this thing up, see how hard it is to drop the fuel tank, get that down, see how bad that is. I'm sure it's not good. I'm gonna try to talk him into ordering a new one, but maybe we can pressure wash it out, we'll see. I know you can dip them or whatever. I just did a quick search and it looks like about 200 bucks you get a tank, so say $250 you can get a new tank and sending unit. That's what I like to do. And never have a headache on the side of the road again, because that's all rusty fuel tanks are, is a headache for years to come. Don't comment down below about taking it to a radiator shop, because the nearest one is an hour away and they're busy, and so I'd have to make 2 trips there and it would take a week, and all your muriatic acid and evaporust and all that stuff, well, that costs money too, and there's no guarantees. And just buy a new tank. If they're available and affordable, just new tank. Way to go. All right, got the fuel line unhooked, fuel gauge wire unhooked. This thing should slide out of there. Keyword, should. Oh, this thing just stinks. Oh, there's a pile of lines going out this other side. Must be for emissions and whatnot. I guess we better unhook them. Look at this. There's one line going out of the sending unit, and 1, 2, 3, 4 lines over here, all for evap, I would imagine. Great. Oh, look how they run right by the exhaust too. That's handy. All right, I'll take care of those and we'll drop this thing down and take a look inside. All right, got our fuel tank dropped out, and the inside of the tank looks exactly like this sending unit. It is trash. So we're gonna get a new one of those, tank and a sending unit on order, and get her all patched up. All right, we got some parts. We are back on the satellite. We got a new made in Taiwan fuel tank, sending unit, a freshly overhauled transmission and torque converter, and we got a whole bunch of tune-up parts over here. We got a carburetor to put on it, and we got voltage regulator, fuel pump, plugs, wires, cap, rotor, what is that, starter relay, all kinds of stuff. Transmission mount. Let's get after it. Ooh, nothing but the finest AC Delco plugs for a Mopar. These tanks usually just drop right in. This is a Leyland Global. We'll put our sending unit and lock ring and seal in there, and hopefully it just slides right in. I don't see why it won't. Oh, we gotta go steal the filler neck off the old one, I believe. We'll see. But judging by the shape of the box, it's not on there. I've received a few where they fit in the box and the fuel filler neck is just sticking outside of the box, just waiting to get mangled. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go harvest the fuel filler neck off that other one, and hopefully there's not a seal on there and it just magically seals itself. Who knows? Looks like a pretty silly design. Being new to the Mopar game, I was not aware of these seals right here, so otherwise I would have ordered a new one. But this one looks like it's in relatively decent condition. We'll lube our seal up real good because you don't want to ram it in dry. And I think we'll leave the fuel filler neck until once the tank's in place, and then slide it in. Hopefully that works. Otherwise, we'll have to take it out again. The new sending units come with a plastic sock contraption and a plastic float, so hopefully that lasts for infinity. It's clocked, so it can only go one way. And it's not that way. Just kidding, it's got to be that way. And our seal was supposed to go on there first, so we're going to do it twice. It's got to be. We don't want the seal on the backside. There we go. We just got to hook up all our hoses and tighten it up, and our sender, good to go. All right. Definitely didn't want to knock that nut off there, but I did. I think what we're going to do is just put everything together finger tight, and we're going to let her down and make sure I can get that fuel filler neck in there, and then forget to tighten these. Mopar guys are laughing everywhere because I'm an idiot, and I fought that thing on the way out and finally figured it out. Just take the bolt out and you can leave the fuel filler neck probably right in place. Said bolt is right here. Somebody apparently replaced it because that looks way too new to be 1971. Apparently this car was white at one point. Hey, well, not saying it's gonna work, but we'll hook up this marker light for him. Doubt that it works. That's just the service we offer here. That one's already hooked up. Speaking of that, looks like somebody's been in here, did a little body work before. Let's get up close and personal. Looks like they scabbed in a bunch of little patches in there. Good enough for the girls we go with, apparently. There's some more up top. This side's pretty good though, other than the mouse poops down there. Didn't do a great job of prepping the jams. Pretty common with these amateur restorations. All right, let's pick her up in the air. finish wrapping up the fuel tank. Just gonna lift our transmission off onto our transmission jack. You know, I forgot about this fuel hose here. We're gonna replace that. I don't know what this is, like super thick. It's almost like heater hose diameter, outside diameter, but clearly it's just 3/8 inside diameter. Rubber hose, always going bad, so we're gonna put that in there while we're here. And check this out. I didn't notice it when we took the transmission out because it wasn't a priority, but we're missing a flex plate bolt, so I'm gonna pop one of these out, see if I got anything that's interchangeable. I'm guessing a small block Chevy one will be just fine. Don't tell the numbers matching Mopar gods. We'll pop that out of there and spin a different one in. And we'll be ready to put a transmission in after we put a fuel line on. Fuel hose, I should say. All right, bottom side's wrapped up. Drive shaft's in. Ooh, that muffler. What the heck happened there? Oh, I bet it flooded and backfired. I don't know. It don't look good. It's not on the list. Cross member's in, speedo's hooked up, tranny lines are hooked up, exhaust is hooked up, torque converter, flex plate bolts are hooked up. We got 2 bell housing bolts hooked up there. Got an inspection cover on. Starter's back in. Hardware's hooked up. Shift linkage is hooked up. He's missing the kick down stuff. I'm gonna do a little research, see what I can find there, but I don't have any Mopar stuff around, or extra Mopar stuff, so we're probably just gonna leave it wired like it was. I think this is reverse lights or neutral safety or both. That's hooked up. New transmission mount is in there. So yeah, we're ready to set this thing on the ground, put those 2 top bolts in, and then start doing some other things. AKA the box of stuff on the shelf over there. And we gotta put fuel in that tank. First thing we're gonna install in here is our Edelbrock 1405 carburetor. Oh, look at this menagerie of mismatched hardware. Good enough for the girls we go with, right, Duff? This is a spread bore, like I think I mentioned several weeks ago, or moments ago in this video. Apparently no adapter is needed. We'll find out if we got a giant vacuum leak. Alright, carburetor's on. Let's check out this voltage regulator. Looks like it's pinned out properly. Of course, nobody put the screws back in place to hold it to the firewall. I'm sure they're just some stealth tappers type dealios, so I'm gonna go scrounge some of them up. Is the bolt pattern correct? Yep. Don't forget to hook up the ground. Voltage regulator's on. Let's put this little starter solenoid thing. Why Mopar has a solenoid on the starter and one on the inner fender, I don't know. And of course, somebody used 14 gauge wire with yellow connectors, and there's a bunch of different connectors been in here, so somebody thought they were an electrician. Let's get her swapped out. Looks like just, again, a self-tapping sheet metal screw held to the inner fender. Nothing but the finest for Mopar. Mopar or no car. I wonder if Mopar had the conversation like, Ford's got it on the inner fender, GM's got it on the starter. Let's one up them. Let's do it on both. Of course the new one is metric. The old one was made in America. I bet this one's not. All right, Hopefully we don't have to use the loser switch anymore. Well, all we got left, allegedly, until we find out differently, is the tune-up, spark plugs, cap rotor wires, and the fuel pump. I think we'll do the fuel pump from the bottom. So while we got her on the ground, let's do the tune-up. Pull some spark plugs, put some matching wires on it, cap rotor, all that good stuff. I will give it to Mopar. Having the distributor up front here is real nice when you got to service them. Not real nice when you hit a mud puddle or get into a demolition derby and they're smashing into everything. Ooh, yeah, this stuff. Made in America, but she's had a few birthdays on there. All right, I didn't show taking this thing off because there's no good way to see. Not much to see, a lot to hear. My forearms are just rubbed raw from this car. Anyway, this thing's got fuel hose on both sides pointing straight down. This thing was set up for a fuel line. So we'll have to make something work there. Other than that, looks like it's the same. These things, this inside bolt on these Mopar guys will not, you can't even get paint back there. That's how tight it is. But it is a real bugger to get at. So I'm gonna throw this new one on there. And we should be pretty much wrapped up with this thing. Tell you what, these Mopar fuel pumps, they are no fun. We did the one on a little black pickup, and now this one. It'll give you a nice access hole through the old K-member here. But we got some new steel line. There was a rubber connector in there anyway, so we still got that rubber connection. She's on there. She's good to go. If anybody knows a trick to installing these, let me know. That would be a terrible job from the top side, but we got her done. He did want me to check the diff, so I'm gonna pull the plug, make sure the differential's full, and then we'll top it off if we need to. Otherwise, I think we're pretty much ready to dump some fuel in the tank and dump some ATF in the transmission. Guess what? I went to crank this thing over, still no cranky crank. So I thought we'd diagnose this starter solenoid. What's coming by here? Is that a bomb shelter? And if you sent power to here, the starter worked. And we checked here, and when you cranked over with the key, we had power here. So I thought it was this guy. And these spot welds suck on these, especially when you have too big a battery in there and it pushes against it. But anyway, there's a ground on here. There's an I. That's for when you get the key, it sends power there. That sends power to the starter. But this is your battery power. And G is a ground. And that ground, I assume, goes from a body down to the neutral safety switch on the transmission and then back up to here. We grounded the transmission. I checked the switch is working. So I thought, oh, there must be no continuity. But while I was in there, I pinched that connector slightly shut, hooked it back up, went up top, and cranked over. So we didn't need this piece, but we'll throw it on the shelf anyway. And that's how these things work. Ground is your neutral safety switch. I is your ignition for your crank. Solenoid goes down to your starter solenoid. B is for your battery. So the more you know. Always, well, I did verify the concern, but I didn't troubleshoot it far enough. I verified that I'm an idiot. That's what I verified. Anyway, we'll throw that on the shelf. It's still functional, but these terrible spot welds broke because that battery's too big, and that made me mad. So I threw the battery, and we threw NASCAR Arthur in there for now. We got fuel in it. Now we just got to get the ATF. So once the ATF arrives, we'll be able to crank it over. All right, we got 8 quarts of something. ATF, Napa, the good stuff. Dexmark. It says for many GM, Ford, and select import vehicles. It doesn't say Mopar, but we'll just assume that it's good enough. let's see if this thing will fire up. The Mopar Madman said they usually take 9.5, but dump 8.5 in and see what happens. Let's do it. Probably gonna want to prime that carburetor, seeing as how there's no fuel in the lines, or the pump, or the hoses. It'll save on the starter. We don't want to be swapping that out too. Must not have picked up any fuel yet. Too far. Fired up. Put it in park. Nothing there. All right, ready? All right, she runs pretty good, but now it won't crank over with the key, so I guess we're gonna have to lift it up and check out that neutral safety switch again and see if it's the wiring down there, or if it's the switch, or what. Mopar Madman said just run a jumper wire to ground from up there. Then you don't have a neutral safety switch, but I kind of like having a neutral safety switch, especially on somebody else's stuff or a customer car. But we'll get that addressed, and then I think maybe wash it up. I don't know. Speaking of washing it up, if you got a nice car like this and you got to work on it, get yourself, even if you don't have a nice car, get yourself a Mortske repair fender cover. These things are freaking nice. I don't get to promote them much because we don't get to work on nice things that often. So get yours at mortskerepair.com. We got them in stock right now. They're heavy duty. They're super nice. We looked at a lot of different options before we got this one. So they ain't cheap, but you get what you pay for. So, and stuff like that really helps out the channel. I appreciate all you who bought caps and sweatshirts and t-shirts and can koozies and screwdrivers and all that stuff. It helps us be able to make this content and buy the dumb things that you guys like to see us do. So maybe someday we'll be able to buy a dumb Mopar of our own if we sell enough of these fender covers, because Mopar stuff is not just dumb. It's dumb expensive too. All right, carburetor seems good. Maybe play with the idle air mixture just a little bit just to feel good, but seems like it idles okay. Seems like it's responsive. The tune-up seems good. We'll have to check to make sure she's charging. And then, yeah, we're ready to run her outside. I don't think we're gonna take her for a test drive because these tires are so bad. And the car is just good enough. If I were to do some things, you know, get a little recreational per se with a customer car and tore up a quarter panel or wrecked a tire or wrecked the car, it wouldn't end well. So probably gonna be no test drive, and I don't know if he likes dogs in his cars or whatever. So I think we're just gonna get her outside and walk around her, get her cleaned up, and wrap it up there. So we're getting close, getting close. Silly neutral safety switch wiring. All right, we got this 71 Satellite cleaned up pretty well. She actually polished up all right. You can definitely see the blemishes in the paint job, but it is what it is. These wheels even clean up okay. They look good on a trailer of sorts, but these tires are so bad I don't even dare drive it. It's pretty peppy out of the hole. We goosed her a couple times, but anyway, we got this thing driving a little bit better for the first time in 21 years. I'm gonna let him know he should probably get a whole bunch of brake parts and some tires. The wheels are up to him, but those tires, this tire specifically, is a definite may pop. I would probably put some belts and hoses and all that rubber stuff on there. But yeah, she cleans up pretty decent. So this is why I don't do custom work, because this was just supposed to be a quick trade for some junk. You know, clean up a carburetor, maybe a quick tune-up, and put a seal on a transmission, which turned into a rebuilt transmission, which thankfully I didn't have to do, but we had to put it in there. And then provide copious amounts of ATF, and it turned into a fuel tank and troubleshooting a neutral safety switch and starter solenoid and all that good stuff. And I still am not sure that it's charging. I need to double check that, but Mopar Madman said these voltage regulators are all junk. You got to buy an adjustable one, and he said that's the only way you can get them to work. So yay Mopar things. But yeah, we got this thing back on the road. Hopefully he takes it home and fixes those handful of things and gets it out of here and enjoys it for many years. So yeah, don't call me and ask me if I want to do custom work, because I don't care what you got. I got plenty of stuff in the yard to do my own videos on, so why would I want to work on somebody else's stuff? Like I said, this is a special deal because he lives close by and he's got a bunch of cars in his trees, and I like cars and he wants them out of his trees and wants this running, so everybody wins. But it really wasn't that bad of a job. You know, I'd say solid, really hard day or a good weekend, maybe a day and a half of thinking around doing that transmission. Of course, it was way easier with the transmission jack and that wildfire lift, so if you had to do it on your back, that wouldn't be a whole lot of fun. But these Mopar transmissions, they're really not that bad to take out. Those bell housing bolts that are a pain on everything else, pretty easy. But weird things like the fuel pump, that was not fun. Mopar things. So yeah, hopefully you see some more Mopars on the channel and we get better with them, and maybe we get a, you know, second gen charger, or a like 70 to 74 E or A body or whatever. I really want a Challenger or a Cuda, but it's got to be like 70 and newer, because the older ones are ugly, and I'm not a Dart fan, but so be it. Cornets, Satellites, those earlier ones are pretty cool, but I got a hankering for a second gen Camaro. We got a bunch of those. Charger. So is everybody else. Big money stuff. All right, there you have it. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, it doesn't matter, get it done as long as you're having fun. Oh yeah, check out the merch, mortske.com. We got koozies and we got coolers on stock. We got ball caps, shirts, sweatshirts, banners, magnetic screwdrivers, super scrapers. You name it, we got it. If we don't got it, you don't need it. All right, on to the next one. Hopefully we're working on our own stuff, like a Trans Marrow Bird. Right, Duff? Right. Or maybe a 33 Ford. That'd be pretty cool.